Hello, welcome to Matters of DeCorum. I'm Scott Corum. This is what matters to me. Festive greetings, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, joyous Kwanzaa, whatever your celebration, if any, at this time of year. This seems appropriate to open that way because that's the day this is coming out. Christmas. It's going to be a little Christmas centric because that's the traditions that I grew up in. When I say traditions I grew up in, I still remember being 4 years old at my grandparents' house in Cerritos, falling asleep in the living room on the floor, lying and waiting for Santa Claus to come down the chimney, facing the chimney, waiting for it to happen. And yeah, I couldn't hang when I woke up. He'd been there. They were present. It's I followed those traditions for years. Another Christmas, my dad stayed up all night while I was in bed, building this tent that was shaped like a space capsule from a kit. But that was my space Christmas because he must have stayed up all night putting that together. So I wake up early in the morning, I would walk out, and boom, there's a space capsule in the living room. And I had to go wake up my dad to tell him about it. Never seen him so tired. Wonder why. And while I may have left some of the beliefs and trappings behind that defines a child's Christmas, I've never really lost my wonder for them. Uh, as you grow up, you find out that our current version of Santa Claus, jolly old man in the red suits, based on a poem and an advertising campaign by the Coca-Cola Company. And it takes away a little bit of that mystique. I write role-playing games. Putting mystique back in things is kind of what I do. I have put Santa Claus into games before. I've run a game where Santa was the victim of a power thief. Jackie Paper from the song Puff the Magic Dragon, one of the major villains in the old Hot Chicks world, whose ability was to steal the powers of legends that he defeated, starting with the dragon and just kind of went on from there. Hate that character, but having my characters in the story attacked by someone with the powers of Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny and the Christmas Witch and the dragon, not the least of which, really kind of socked it in there. That's something I really enjoyed doing. Having one of the characters, I ran a 20 level campaign, 0 to 20, over a few years at the friendly local gaming store, and one of the characters took up the mantle of Father Christmas. And it was kind of a throwaway thing for me as the dungeon master. That player showed up every week and handed out candy and gifts. Little things, pencils and erasers and stuff. But he took on that role and just embodied it. His character, for the most part, one night a year, he could travel to every place in the kingdom, delivering something to every good girl and boy, and as well as delivering coal to the bad ones, which allowed him to editorialize a little bit when it came to that. But it made the campaign something special, not just in that I threw that in there, but that someone really dug into it. Made me think, letting things run through in my head. We have a very basic history of the fictional Kris Kringle, thanks to Rankin Bass and a stop-action animation special that I watch once a year religiously. I was never much a fan of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer because, well, having been the ostracized young person I was, I identified a little bit too much with the main character. Santa never asked me to pull a sleigh because my ADHD. Go figure. So, what do I do with a legend like that and a name like that? Including him in a game as an NPC is kind of a given that there is a Father Christmas, there is a Kris Kringle, a Saint Nicholas, as it were, and uh, that's someone accessible by the player characters. He makes a great patron. It's kind of hard to reach him unless you just write him a letter. Just write him a letter; he'll get it. Even if you can't address it, even there are people out there who make sure that letters to Santa get to Santa, and that is a really good. That's also that patron that gives the characters hot chocolate when they're cold and just shows up with presents when they need to. Kind of the way he did in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. C.S. Lewis giving Father Christmas a little boost there. That'd be the easy way to put Santa into a game. This is all a way of me saying there's a game I'd like to run. Don't know what group I would run it for. Don't know when this is ever going to happen. Don't know if it's ever going to happen. But if you're watching this and it sounds like something you might want to do, well, let's see what happens. Because I want Kris Kringle to be one of the player characters. 0 to 20 Dungeons and Dragons campaign, 5th edition, and one of the characters is Kris Kringle, just starting out first level, probably a fighter and or druid. But you don't just have a legendary D&D party with one character. Well, I guess you can. I have, but not this game. No, because who else is in there? There's a lot of supplements out there adding anthropomorphic character races to Dungeons and Dragons. And there's absolutely I like playing a Kirka. They're squirrel folk. They, for all intents and purposes, anthropomorphic squirrels. So let's get an anthropomorphic rabbit in here and give him some eggs. Yeah, the Easter Bunny should be another one of the characters in this party. The Tooth Fairy, a magic user following a Wiccan-ish tradition, Halloween witch. Even if I got just those four, there's some others that we can throw in there. A party of legends before they were legends. And the players of this game might not even realize that's what their characters are. I could give them different names and switch things out a little bit, but ideally they kind of would know. It could be played as a kind of a surprise thing for laughs, but that'd be a good convention game. It'd be a great convention game to have like 6 legendary characters whose names I obscure, and they don't realize until the end of the game that that's who they've been playing. That's fun. I like that. I might have to run that at a convention next year. But a longer campaign that I'm running for a home setting or online, yeah, folks know who they're running and what they're going for, and it becomes the challenge of the dungeon master to provide the opportunities for those characters to come into their own, for Santa to gain all of the powers that we associate with Santa Claus, for him to develop the relationship with the elves, such that he has a workshop full of elven workers, that he develops a dedication to giving gifts to deserving children and punishing undeserving children. Maybe one of the campaign villains is the Krampus, and Santa has to displace him because the Krampus has just been punishing bad children, and that's all that Christmas is. And well, Mr. Kringle's upset with that and thinks that a certain amount of reward should be in there. And what's the worst thing you can do to a kid? Well, it shouldn't be anything worse than giving him a lump of coal. It's kind of a warning notice. Yeah, you could have gotten a bicycle. You got coal. Be better next year. And the ability to know when people are sleeping, know when they're awake, knowing when they're bad and good, keeping a list, which you'd obviously have to check twice. Yeah, that's a lot. That is a tremendous amount of power. But 20th level D&D character, maybe. It's not like they got the power all the time. They're constantly keeping track of the naughty nice thing, but they're only delivering presents to every child in the world once a year. That's a pretty pretty tough refill. You can do that. Recharges on to 6. You get the Easter Bunny, who has a similar set of abilities. I mean, they've got some kind of affiliation with chickens. I mean, the eggs got to come from someplace. Maybe magical Oompa Loompa kind of chickens. Maybe chickenkin. Well, man, that raises all kinds of stuff. No, maybe not anthropomorphic chickens that are just handing over their eggs. That doesn't seem right. Maybe someone who raises chickens, but magical chickens, chickens that lay eggs in fanciful colors and patterns, and occasionally they come out chocolate. Someone who said Oompa Loompa-ish. If all the eggs were chocolate, or do they have a farm, but they grow jelly beans on the farm? What if I, over the course of the campaign, took the Easter Bunny and made them a Willy Wonka character? I mean, Willy Wonka had chickens laying golden eggs, or gooses that laid golden eggs. So why not have the Easter Bunny be kind of Willy Wonka in this? So he's got access to all the eggs and chocolate and candy that he passes out. And then he's got that, maybe he and Santa drank from the same magical spring, gives him the ability to deliver all this stuff in one night, or over the course of one morning before everyone wakes up. I like that. I like that a lot. Our magic user, the Halloween witch, not 100% that the character's got to be female. I'm sure we can have a Halloween warlock. Ooh, there we go. A warlock whose patron is Samhain. Sam Hain, if you pronounce it with an American tone. And uh, the the being that is the gateway between life and death. That's a good warlock patron. That's a really good warlock patron. And over the course, what do they do everywhere on the planet for one night? They cast their shadow. They cast their shadow across the face of the full moon for one night out of every year, right around that time when, well, let's mix that up a little bit. What's the All Hallows Eve? The day before All Hallows. All Hallows is a Christian celebration where we are as close as we get to the afterlife, to the next world, where we remember those who have passed on. All Hallows Eve, a celebration of that time coming up. Maybe the veil is thinnest on that night. The night when the veil is the thinnest, our warlock will eventually be casting their shadow across the world, perhaps as the herald of Samhain, to usher in that time. I like that. I like that a lot. That's got some teeth to it. Tooth Fairy. Obviously a fae of some kind, whose ability is to, well, they've got to come into a lot of money during the campaign. They've got to acquire just this tremendous hoard. Maybe there's a dragon that the party has to defeat, and the Tooth Fairy gets access to its hoard so that they don't get that everywhere in the world across one night thing. They almost become ethereal. uh, the I keep saying the word wrong. Sidereal, Sideral. Um, they're not entirely of the prime material plane anymore. They can be banished or summoned, and you summon them by placing the freshly fallen tooth of a child under the pillow. They don't judge. They don't. They're not there to reward or punish, but you summon them. You gave them time. Oh, they're becoming something better. They're on their way to apotheosis. They are becoming a deity, even a minor deity, and that tooth under the pillow, that is a form of worship. That is a form of belief. Everyone who puts a tooth under the pillow and the tooth fairy, maybe a rogue, is bribing people to believe in them. You show the faith, you get a coin. There's a little something under your pillow. Works probably best for children because children are amongst the beings capable of the most amount of faith. No one believes like a children. Wow, my English is great today, isn't it? Stream of consciousness. So over the course of this campaign, they've got to find the spring that takes you everywhere in one night. You're going to have to meet the Warlock's patron. You're going to have to fight the dragon. The dragon's going to be one of these penultimate things. I'm sure there are things in the dragon's hoard. Well, parties split hoards, so the Tooth Fairy can't just have all the money and that's all there was. Everyone gets a little something. Our Santa character probably ends up with a nice weapon, a major bag of holding, a bag of holding that can carry every gift in the world, maybe an item that allows them to misty step down chimneys. Our Easter Bunny, boots of speed, something like that, some magic item that allows them to actually get everywhere. Something stealthy. They're hiding the eggs. So something gives them a major bonus to their stealth, a cloak or a ring that makes them practically invisible for a little while. Our Halloween witch, broom, a wondrous broom. The broom that takes them high enough to cast their shadow on the moon across the entire land. Now, Tooth Fairy gets the cash. Tooth Fairy gets the cash because if anyone's got a problem with it, hey, I'm giving this to children, okay? One coin at a time in exchange for their teeth. There is nothing weird about that whatsoever. Maybe they don't kill the dragon. Maybe this isn't a dragon that's meant to be killed. Maybe the dragon is going to become a patron. Someone who helps the party out. Someone who gives the party a little bonus now and then. Someone the party can summon if there's real trouble. Kind of Voltron style. Because from my first inspiration that started the story and the path that went there, maybe the dragon that they're dealing with is Puff. Puff, the magic dragon. I could never hear that song without tearing up a little bit. Even thinking about it, I get a little misty. Because Jackie Paper had a good thing. He had a dragon he could hang out with, and they fought pirates and stuff. And then one day, Jackie just fucking quit. The subtext of the song is that Jackie grew up. It's one of the things maybe determined I was never actually going to grow up. I think I'm doing a pretty good job so far. So having Puff show up as a late game campaign patron, yeah, that works. And Puff's a dragon that really, really loves to help kids. That is the dragon's jam, is that it maybe tragically lost someone or something when they were a younger dragon, and now that they're older and on their hoard and just consolidating, they're consolidating their wealth because that's all they got left. Maybe Jackie Paper stopped showing up, and this is Puff living out the last of their days, waiting to die. When this party of people shows up, all of whom also wanting to help children. Yeah, the mistiness is back, and I think that's telling me this is the right direction to go with it. So they find the spring, they encounter Puff, they meet the patron Samhain. You got to give player characters something to do. They got to be fighting something. I mean, that's the thing. They're driving something back. They're, going back to some of the Rankin Bass stuff. There's some evil people out there. Some evil people. Let's tie a whole bunch of stuff together. Why not? Another movie from my youth, one of my favorites of all time, actually, that I really dearly love. It's a movie. If you haven't seen it, see it. A movie called Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. About a turn of the century, last century, as adventure to Dick Van Dyke, and a cameo by Benny Hill. Really, really great movie. This car that just becomes magical because so much love goes into it, and they end up going to this country where the king is enslaving children. King doesn't like children because the king wants all the toys for himself. The king's like a 6-year-old on the inside, maybe more than on the inside. He's really kind of infantile, and he's got a child catcher, a royal child catcher, who can sniff out children and go and catch them and put them to work so that the king can have all the toys. Benny Hill plays the toy maker. Great movie. So what if we take that king? What if we transplant that king from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang to our campaign world, and children are illegal? Children are he rose to power. It's not like he started a campaign of people not having children. He rose to power, and now children are illegal while there's already a bunch of children out there, and the children are getting hunted down, locked up. Illegal to have children, illegal to keep children. Children are to be enslaved or worse. And this party of adventurers have a common cause from the beginning. Stop the king. Take the king down. There's got to be, that king wouldn't necessarily have an heir. So who would you? Because taking a king down just creates a power vacuum if you don't have someone to put in that place. And it often becomes the job of the player characters to put someone there. Player characters could take over the kingdom, just rule it as a group, or they put one of them up there. Whoever seems to be, probably Santa, but whoever ends up being the de facto leader probably gets put up on that throne just so there's someone to watch it. They've got other responsibilities, but mostly one night a year. Tooth Fairy couldn't do it, way too busy. Trying to be a god, so, king would be a step down. Yeah, I think I definitely want to run that at some point in time. I definitely want to give that a try. Because it does kind of write itself a little bit, doesn't it? Just all the stuff from my childhood still makes me misty-eyed or gives me that childlike wonder. And yeah. Well, I've said it before, but in a more direct manner, Merry Christmas, everyone. I hope that this has been a joyous time for you. If not, I hope for better times. I'm Scott Corum. This is what has mattered to me. I'll see you next time on the next Matters of DeCorum. And now, over to Uncle Drac for the outro. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't enjoy this video, give it a thumbs down. Feedback is feedback. If there's any other topics you would like to hear Scott talk about, questions you'd like him to answer, subjects you'd like him to cover, please leave a comment down below. He will love getting your comment, and you will love leaving him one. If you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, why not? This channel is awesome. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you do, you might also want to hit the little notification bell so you're alerted when these videos become available. If you would like to support this channel in a more substantial manner, we invite you to hit us up at the Patreon page, www.patreon.com/ScottCorum. And consider donating. Absolutely anything helps and allows us to create better content more often. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.